I went bankrupt. I didn't know what to do. I was just in my room, almost crying and being like, what am I going to do? I haven't exposed this in camera anyways, but
At what point did you start looking to delegate?
The most important department is the people department, because people move a business. You do all this work, you're working 12, 14 hours a day, and then at the end of the day, the customer doesn't pay you.
Why do you think that happens so much with contractors? Welcome back to Raspberry Lemonade. You'll probably notice the set is a little different today. And that's because we are with the Limitless CEO, Jonathan Rodriguez, today. Thank you for having us in your space. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling super happy, super pumped. We had a great podcast before this one, but thank you so much for being on my podcast, and now we can be in your podcast as well. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. It was an awesome conversation. Love the name, Limitless CEO. Check it out. Go subscribe. He's got some great guests coming on. Maybe that's a little biased because I'm gonna be on there, but.
Right.
Like honestly,
you're one of the best guests.
No. But yeah, definitely check it out. I could see you, pulling some pretty big names within a short time because of the community you're in and all that. Let's get right into it, man.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about who you are and what business you're in.
Who am I? My name is Jonathan Rodriguez. I was born and raised in East LA, but I was taken back to Mexico for about 6-7 years. Then I was brought back here. I went to elementary, middle school, and high school. And I run currently a commercial, residential, and HOA painting business. I'm a co-owner of 2 of 7 stores, brick-and-mortar we run in LA. And I invest in rental properties.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on.
A lot going on.
We'll get into how you managed to.
And on top of that.
And on top
of that, we're running the podcast.
That's right.
A painting podcast. Well, the Limitless podcast, the Just Right Painting podcast. And I have 4 kids.
Sheesh. I thought I was busy, bro.
Yeah. I didn't watch TV, that's why.
That's right. Yeah, you had no time for that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. How long have you had this brick and mortar business, first of all?
Okay, the brick and mortar business. That's a good question. Nobody asked me about the brick and mortar stuff. It's all about the business, the painting business. But yeah, no, the brick and mortar started long time ago. We used to. I haven't exposed this in camera, anyways. But we started selling in the swap meets. But before the swap meets, we were selling Mary Kay, Harry Cole. It's like a Avon thing. Back in the day, we used to sell this house to house, and then we went to the swap meets. And then we were selling like kids' clothes on the Swami. And I told my wife that we should open up a store. So we opened up the first store. This was back in Boyle Heights. And it was a kids' clothes store. And then we turned it into a faja store like a few years after. So that's how I got into it. And then slowly it turned into 2 stores. And yeah, so now we run 7 stores, but it's a long story. But yeah, I started helping my wife in 2018. That's when I started my painting business, and I started learning more about business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. But you've always had that kind of entrepreneurial itch, sounds like, right? Starting the faja store.
Oh yeah. I always been into business in my mindset, even though I didn't started business until 2018.
So before that, I know you mentioned this in another podcast, but you started taking people under your wing, well, not under your wing, but as you kind of managing people since you were like, was it 13 or 15 years old?
Yeah. So I started managing people when I was about 13, 14 years old. So I got into the painting industry when I was 12. I dropped out of high school. At that time, I was not financially good, so I dropped out of high school and I started working as a painter. And I worked as a painter for about, I don't know, like maybe like a year, and then I got promoted to a supervisor real quickly. I always been like, I think I always had that leadership skills, so I was managing 3 to 4 guys.
Yeah, interesting. And kind of asked you this off air, but we'll touch a little bit on it.
Right.
I asked you if you had siblings.
Yeah.
And you said that you're the youngest.
Yeah.
So how does the youngest end up having like these amazing leadership skills? How does that happen?
Well, I think it's always because, well, this is also I haven't said in camera. I always been bullied with in school, and also some of my family members. Maybe that's normal. Maybe in the Hispanic community.
I think so. Unfortunately,
yeah, maybe it's normal. You know, getting bullied, being the youngest. You know, you will get this, you will get that, or just being in a fight, or just bully in general. I think it's bully, but I think that motivates me, and that gave me the feel to be a better leader. When you have that feel in you, and you want to prove people that you're better, then that's when you become better.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
See, now that makes sense because personally, I'm the oldest of my family.
Right.
And being the oldest, you always go through things first.
Right.
You always kind of have to go through the growing pains first. And then hopefully, if you're a good older brother or sister, you impart that knowledge to the younger ones or look out for them.
Yeah.
And so that's why I found it so interesting that you being the youngest, you're the one that acquired these leadership skills. And now that's translated into all the businesses that you have. And we'll touch a little more on your upbringing on the show. That's one of the questions that we have of, what's something that you experienced maybe even in childhood or kind of had maybe a personality trait that's helped you in business. So what do you say? Actually, we go to that part of the show is, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. You mentioned that you were born in East LA, like the song says.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I have a connection to East LA. Both of my parents met in East LA. So
yeah,
if it wasn't for East LA, I probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But so you were born there, and you said that you moved back to Mexico. Well, what happened there?
Yeah, so I guess I was born here because my mom always wanted to have. She had that mentality that she wanted to have her last 3 kids in LA. So I was born here, and then I was taken back to Mexico, and then I don't think we were good financially there as well. So then we're coming back to America, and then so that's how we came back. But that was like I was like the first one. Me, my older sister, and my brother. We came back before everybody else because right now everybody's over here again. Everybody's now a resident and citizen.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Let's get into those formative years, right? So maybe think. So is it Jonathan? Because you mentioned earlier that someone calls you Beto.
Oh,
is that
no,
like your middle name or
no, it's
nickname?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, what was Jonathan from like 5 to maybe 10 years old? What did you occupy yourself with during the day? What was your life like then?
From what years?
Like 5 to 10 years old.
5 to 10. So I don't remember much about like the 5 to 10, but I do remember maybe from 7 when they came back, like 7 to like 10, 11. What was it like? It was well, I was going to school. I used to fight a lot because I mean I used to get bullied, but I was defending myself.
Yeah.
All the time. So I used to fight a lot back in school, and then also with the family. It was I was getting bullied by the family. I remember when some of the times I used to get bullied with my brother, my older brother. We used to play a game. We used to bump heads to each other.
What?
And
like rams?
Yeah, something like that. And then it's kind of strange, But I mean, I never touched this in camera, but those are the things that I went through. I remember one time I was on the bicycle, and then my older brother, he's like, my mom is calling you. And then he just came and he dropped me on my teeth and he broke my tooth. It's still broken. You know?
Man, you have the memory, right? The recuerdo.
Yeah, I mean those little things, but I mean that was my childhood.
Would you say overall though, you had a good childhood?
I think I had a good childhood because I think people have it worse, but it's just regular bullying here and there. It was just that's how it was. So maybe that was the reason I'm a high school dropout because I mean I didn't like school. I didn't like not having the money to buy other stuff that other people had. Maybe not something fancy, but at least like just regular stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Were you ever that kid who, would sell chips or soda or something like that at school, or not really?
I mean, I do remember selling when I was in middle school. I used to get those bag of chips, those candies. I think it was called Valero or something like that. Not Valore, Valero. Yeah, Valero. Those round candy. I used to buy them for like $1.50 and sell them for like 25 cents each.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit.
I had some entrepreneurial. Yeah.
Who would you say you get that from? Are either your parents kind of business owners at some point or anything like that?
I mean, no one is actually an entrepreneur in my family. Everybody works for other people. And I mean, they're musicians. What else? I mean, musicians, and they sew. They're from León, Guanajuato, so they used to do jackets and wallets and stuff like that.
So full on seamstresses, tailors,
and even like shoes when they were in Mexico. And
wow,
yeah.
Okay.
And then my dad, he's been a musician for the past 40 years. My older brothers, yeah.
So then naturally, you kind of mentioned this off air too, but you play instruments.
Yeah, actually, nobody knows this, but I play instruments. I play the accordion and the guitar, and I have a 12-string guitar that I don't play, but I have a guitar.
Those things sound beautiful. I didn't even know those things existed.
Yeah.
Until I want to say maybe like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, he would started learning guitar, and he got a 12-string. I was like, "What is this?" It's like it's a 12-string guitar. Like you've been playing guitar for your whole life, and you didn't know these existed. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's called a bajo sexto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Definitely more. I mean, not to say that I haven't seen it in other genres, but it's definitely a more, I want to say, don't cancel me if I'm wrong, but very like Mexican traditional music. Like you hear it more in that,
it is. It's used on the Mexican music, on norteño music, or like more like a Mexican style.
Right.
Yeah,
that's where I heard of the 12-string for the first time. But that's cool, man. That you still carry that legacy of musicianship with the instruments that you play. Going into now the business aspect, right? So we mentioned how you kind of always had that entrepreneur spirit since you were a kid. What was that shift though? Would you say is like it was a very aware decision of you dropping out and you're like, I'm gonna go work, figure something out, or start my own business, or was it kind of just something that happened as a consequence of dropping out of high school?
No, but actually, I was working on the field as a painter, and I was there for I don't know, for many years. I was as a painter and then supervisor. It was like 10 years before I decided to pull the trigger and start my own company. And I started my own company, right? So I failed again. So I went back to another company. So it took a while. It was not just like...
It wasn't overnight.
It wasn't overnight. It took many years. From 13 to, I don't know, maybe I was 22, 23.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Almost like a decade.
Not 23. I was more like 27.
27.
So it took a while.
Yeah.
It took like 13, 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was not overnight.
Kind of revisit it and now make it a successful business.
Yeah, because when I went out to start my own business, I thought I knew everything, but I knew how to do the skill. I know how to do the actual project, but not the business side.
Right.
So that's when I went back to this other company and I started learning the processes, the systems, and everything else that needed to run the business. Not quite what I know now, but it was a little bit, got me going, got me motivated. Oh, it's not that hard. There's other things to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. You also mentioned on another podcast that you were married young,
Yeah.
right? Like the more I think about your story, it's crazy because you kind of got a not a head start, I would say, but you definitely started on a lot of things that traditionally you do later in life,
Right.
right? So like you started working like at a very young age, you got married at a very young age, and you have 4 kids,
Yeah.
and still you're very young still.
Yeah.
How have you managed to kind of balance, the work, well, I guess business life, balance? How have you balanced that out?
The way I would probably describe it is that I'm pretty organized and I don't think about it too much. Like even today, I woke up at 4 in the morning. I hit the gym. I woke up in the morning. I did my cold plunge. I meditated for like 10 minutes. I went to the gym for an hour and a half, and that's how I do it. I just go back to back to back. I took my daughter to school, and I took my other daughter to school, and then I came to the office, to my other office, and I was doing some paperwork. Then I came to this office and I started doing more paperwork. And then it's just, I think, organizing your day, going back to back, without losing time.
Gotcha.
You
So
know?
kind of being intentional,
Mhm.
having a set schedule of when you usually do things.
Yeah.
That's helped you then.
Yeah, being intentional and also staying motivated. Because you said, how do you manage all these businesses, right? So it's just having a good game plan and having a good team. Being able to delegate like the tasks, and then having positions in your company. For instance, because for me it's like 40 employees, so
Wow.
we need to be able to manage, right? So we have a finance team, we have a accounts receivable, I have my COO, I have my we also have the marketing team, and then the field. So it requires a lot of positions, and then keeping engagement with your employees as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say? I mean, I assume now you have some sort of hiring process, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning stages, though, how would you go about it? And might I add, do you still have people from like the beginning stages that are still with you to this day? I know that was kind of a few questions. So let me break it down.
Yeah.
First, in the beginning stages, did you have a process, hiring process?
At the beginning stages, I was just doing whatever I learned in this other company, that whatever how they used to do it. But I didn't do it exactly the same. I just, because they had a different process and different systems, and I was doing it kind of under the table. It was just because the way they used to do it didn't work for me, because it used to be 100% legit. They were just hiring off. I don't know exactly. So I was the one hiring, but I didn't know exactly what they were doing. But I think they were doing some type of like the recruiters, Indeed,
those agencies,
Craigslist,
right?
and posting online. And the way I was doing it, it was more like getting the people off the Home Depot, getting the people off the networks, and not checking the background and stuff like that. So it was totally different, but it was working though.
Yeah.
I had the guys, and some of the guys, just my brother and another guy still with the company. So my brother, he started in 2018, and now he started at $14 an hour, and he got promoted all the way to an estimator. So now he's probably making 250,000 a year. So something he's making less, sometimes more, because he's sales.
Right.
So it's commission based. So he has a salary plus commission. But yeah, no, he did really good. So people that stay in the company are doing really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was my hiring process. Now,
yeah, let's get to now.
now it's completely different. Now the hiring process is, because I know more. I had so much training over the years. So now the hiring process is more like, are they aligned with the company values? Are they aligned with the mission statement? Screening them, and then going over a Zoom call. And then once they're a good fit, then bring them in and do another interview. Maybe do like a group interview, and then narrow it down to like one or two. Once we have those two employees, then we send them to the field and we test them in a probationary period. Okay. If they don't work out in the first 2 weeks, then we let them go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you got to be quick about it then.
Yeah. Okay. So it's totally different. I think it's working out now.
That's good.
Much better.
That's
you
excellent.
can always, improve, but I think we have a good system.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I'm asking honestly, like, just for me, kind of thinking ahead too.
Yeah.
Mentioned on your podcast, this is a fairly new business here,
right?
And we definitely have big goals and big dreams, but we need people,
right,
to make them happen.
Yeah.
Right? We can't just. I know I can't handle doing everything myself. Right?
Yeah.
I would cut myself short. So kind of seeing how you go about it gives me a good idea. Like, okay, well, I could do something similar.
Yeah, also like if you want to retain your people, you got to do your PPFs, your personal professional financial goals. So basically, what you do is once you know they're gonna stay, or like maybe a month or 2 months in, then you know they're a good fit, and you talk to them, not in the office. You take them out to anywhere, Subway, a small little restaurant, and then just talk about their personal, their professional, and financial goals for the first year, the 3-year, and the 5-year, and then make sure you revisit every 3 to 6 months, making sure they're happy, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Making sure they're happy, but also making sure they're hitting the professional,
right,
and the financial.
Right.
So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because if they're not helping your business grow, well, then what's the point of keeping them on?
Yeah, you need to be able to understand your people. You need to be able to understand, let's say, what John wants or what Jose wants. Maybe Juan doesn't want to work on the weekends. Maybe Jose is making a house in Honduras or El Salvador. He wants to work the weekends, overtime.
Yeah.
And then so there's different goals for different people. And even just I was talking to one of my guys. He wants to do theater, go to the gym. So maybe just getting a membership, right? Yeah.
That'd be like a nice perk to have because he's working with you.
Yeah.
That's super smart, man.
Yeah.
That's a good nugget there.
And I think that's the most important thing that people don't get it. People think that, oh, there's a solution. This is a solution. There's no solution for that. There's all these little things. So there's different departments. So the most important department is the people department, and the people department because people move a business, and the business don't move people. It's the way around it, right? So focusing on people, having a good game plan around it, and then also on marketing, on sales, on finance, connected businesses, right? So it's just a whole different, a whole.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, ecosystem. That's all. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A 360.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you, as the business owner, you mentioned delegation. The importance of delegation earlier.
Right.
At what point did you start looking to delegate things? Like, if you had to go back to where you started, and do you feel that you did it at the right time?
Yeah, no, well, I could have done it at the beginning. I didn't know how. I just knew whatever I learned. So I did that for, let's see, maybe like 2 to 3 years into the business. And then in 2022, I went down to Miami and I did this training with Brandon Dawson. It was like $40,000, 16-hour training. And that's when I knew I needed to change. I needed to start delegating and building systems, better systems, because I have, poor systems.
So everyone has systems, but they're not always the best.
Yeah, everybody has systems and processes. It could be a pen and paper.
Right.
Yeah, but now it was more like, okay, we got to build responsibilities for every employee in the company and make sure we have a growth structure. And this way, everybody knows what to do and who to report and how often to report, and making sure everybody's on the same page. Yeah, right? Because if you don't have a system and an operation manual for every position, then it's kind of hard to do write-ups, fire the employees with no reason.
Right.
So you need to have a back track record.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, how are you going to help people? How are you going to set people for success if they don't have a clear instruction of what they got to do?
Right.
So yeah, that does definitely fall onto the business owner.
Yeah.
I have another follow-up question. This is just impromptu because we're talking about this. What would you say are kind of the big, how would you put it? Like the major hats that a business owner has in the beginning stages? Or at least maybe for you. No, what was that for you?
For me, I had multiple hats. So I had to do the marketing. And then I wasn't doing posting, but I had to do the marketing. I have to run down for the sales. and I have to do the actual work, physical work. For me, it was painting, whatever, but it could be anything. You have a different type. So you have the skill, and then you have the firing, you have the hiring, you have the accounts receivable, and then you're doing HR. You're kind of doing everything. You're doing the training.
Wow.
So but obviously with a smaller company, having 2 employees is easier.
Yeah.
As you're growing, you have to start hiring different positions.
Exactly. So kind of backtracking to the question, like in your case, at what point did you start, delegating, I guess in the form of hiring people, right?
Yeah.
Was that maybe you mentioned
That was we started building positions. So once we get to 3 to 4 employees, then we build up the position to a crew leader or a manager that is going to manage these employees. Then when we got to like 9 employees or 10 employees, we created a position of a supervisor.
Okay.
And then from there, we started building up more managers or crew leaders. We call them crew leaders in my company. So a crew leader manages 5 people, anywhere from 4 to 6 people, and we started building up from there. So now we have about 36 employees, just on field employees. So we have about 6 different crew leaders, and then we have the supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that scared me so far is like, okay, this thing is obviously going to grow because that's the goal. And we're, taking steps in that direction. Like once I get there, like what the heck do I do?
Yeah.
But you mentioned
but I think for you it's going to be much easier because I mean you have a lot of people that you know.
Yeah.
So basically just build the operation manual for the position they're on from the beginning. Because for me, I had to go back and rebuild the entire structure, the foundation, the core values, the mission statement. It was a lot of things that I have to redo again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. You're giving me hope. Let's get into the sour story on this show. We like to cover the sweet and the sour, right? There's obviously good things that come with having a business. There's also bad things that happen or experiences that we go through that unfortunately we have to go through, like push through the pain. In your case, what's been one of those stories that you'd like to share?
Well, there's a lot of sour stories. One of the sour stories is that you do all this work, you're working 12, 14 hours a day, and then at the end of the day, the customer doesn't pay you.
Ooh.
They don't pay you, and then you paid your employees, and then they don't want to pay you. So that's fortunately for me.
Yeah.
My wife always works, so we have extra income.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the big ones.
Why do you think that happens a lot? A buddy of mine, he also is in the contracting industry or world. Why do you think that happens so much with contractors?
It happens because you don't have a good system. You don't have a good process. Once you're, I mean, I guess it happens to everybody, but you can minimize the risk once once you start having better contracts. You do lean. You start putting lean to the properties, and then you have a better paperwork, and you're keeping track and sending invoices. Because sometimes, like when you're starting, you finish the work and nobody's billing ahead, right? You don't have a contract and nobody's following up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically just having, like you said, those systems to follow up and make sure that you're getting paid on a timely basis.
Yeah, because if you don't get paid in the progress payment, then you can always pull off and then maybe just lose some money, but not the entire project.
Okay. Well, there you go. For anyone in the contracting world, that's a really good piece of advice right there. So you'd say that's probably one of the biggest ones and like you mentioned, I assume now you've minimized that so it doesn't happen as often, but is there a specific story that maybe we could touch on and you're like, man, that really sucked?
Well, that was when I started my first business, when I had Jonathan's Quality Painting. It was not just right painting. I didn't get paid, I don't know, I think it was like $40,000 and I went bankrupt.
Dang.
No money, no nothing. I had I had just got a brand new truck and I went out of business. So that's the story. I went out of business for 6 months, and so that's when I started my other business.
Now you say it so easily now, but 6 months is a long time with the wife and kids.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind during that time?
Well, it's just I got to do something better. I got to look for a job, and I did, and I started working as a demolition man in a demolition company, and I got injured. And no,
It's
I
like he
went.
was just going bad, huh?
I went through a bunch of stuff. I remember I didn't know what to do. I was just in my room, almost crying and being like, "What am I gonna do?" And just thinking, I got to do something different. I got to do something different, and I that's when I started working for this other company.
Wow.
And just learning.
Yeah. Now that you've gone through that, though,
Yeah.
If you could go back, would you change it
If I can go back,
and avoid having to go through that?
having to go to starting my own company.
Well, like those, I'm sure those times were very uncertain.
Yeah.
Right. If you could go back, like if it was up to you, would you have rather not have to go through that, or do you think it's helped you in some way?
I think it really helped me because you always have to go through fails. Maybe it wasn't enjoyable, but
Well, yeah, right, yeah, no, I
but
can imagine.
Yeah, I think it's just as you're going, you have options and you just go for it. Yeah.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That was a very intimate moment there.
Yeah.
Let's flip the coin now. What's been one of the sweetest moments since you started your business that you've experienced? Where you're like, man, like this is why I do this, or right now I'm on top of the world. Well, share with us one of those moments.
One of those moments. For me, it's memories. So memories when I'm able to take off once every couple months. Um, I think that's considered as the best moments because I'm able to spend time with my family. Like for instance, going down to Acapulco, or one of the best moments. I think it's maybe Cabos. We went to Cabos. We had a great time. We were there for 2 weeks. We stayed in San Jose, so it was really nice. Just spending time with the family, having a good check, and then taking off on vacation.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a good feeling too. That you're in a position now where you can do that every once in a while with your family and not have to worry that the business is going to go to shambles right while you're gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us within this community is that's what we're trying to do. We're just want to get to a point where we could step out for like a week, and when we get back, things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that as well, man.
You're welcome.
One of the last questions here, and I think it's so perfect that you have a musical, background.
Yeah.
Because this question is to end the podcast on a high note,
right?
Musical high note. If you had to choose your current life soundtrack, how things have been going in life lately, that type of deal, what song would that be? That kind of embodies how you've been feeling lately.
I don't know. Maybe
Mi primera chamba. No, I'm just kidding.
Para bailar la bamba. Hey, I'm just feeling pumpy, you know? Yeah. I guess la bamba, that's what I probably would say, yeah.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Well, what about it is
well, in order for you to be successful, you gotta be pumped. You need to have you need to be pumped, you need to have energy, you need to be vibrant. It's always about the vibe.
Yeah.
So I think this song has something about vibes, good vibes.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Anytime it comes on, even though it's like very stereotypical, right, for a Mexican to sing that song or play it, you can't help but like tap your foot, be happy.
Yeah.
Right? That's a good song choice, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Last question of the show now. But first, I'd like to thank you so much, for bringing Raspberry Lemonade into your space, for you sharing your story, and I know for a fact that we're going to find a way to collaborate at some point, because we share a lot of the same values. We're very big on family. You mentioned another podcast. You're big on family, focus on business. You have a faith right?
Yeah.
And so, just wanted to say that. But the last question is, where can people continue to follow your journey?
You guys can follow me, Jonathan Rodriguez CEO, in all social media platforms, or you can follow me at Limitless CEO on YouTube.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate
man. Thank you so much for having me also on your show. And I know it was a short little podcast, but we can always make part 2.
Absolutely. No, I know you have stories for like forever. You said you had like 20 hours worth of stories. So this is part 1.
Yeah, it's just at the beginning we were touching about this startup moments but yeah, man.
Exactly.
It's all good.
Awesome, bro. Well, thank you so much. Everyone out there, thank you for listening or watching. And if you got any value from this episode, just ask that you please subscribe to the show to continue to bring on amazing guests like this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
This has been a Redbird Studio Productions. Hope you've enjoyed the program.